Yeah, I think I thought the game kind of went exactly the way that we kind of prepared for it to go mentally. Nothing in this league is easy, especially when it's a team coached by Ed Cooley. He's one of the best you'll go against. I think some unsustainable things obviously going on with us. The defensive rebounding is obviously an issue. Just having that force, that force in the paint. So we're going to have to try to figure out a way, a way there. I thought the first half turnovers and the fouling, we just got to figure out why. Just really go back and watch the film and just figure out why we're just being called for more fouls than our opponents are called for once we get into league play. Because you play 34% defense from the field. Obviously, we didn't create a lot of turnovers off our defense, but held them to four assists, held them for 16 from three, with some really good 3-point shooters, and but again, just why are we after every one of these games in the red from the foul line?
Just Alex, what he was able to do tonight. I mean, you had times you needed somebody to give you a lift, and you always seemed to deliver that.
Yeah, I mean, him and Cam were great. I mean, anytime we got to 8, he'd step up and make a shot, make a play, get it to, get it to 10, hit a 3, go up 13. It never really felt comfortable out there. But those two guys, obviously, Sampson had a tough night. T-New couldn't really find his rhythm out there. Shooting the ball and driving it with a lot of contact and not really getting to the line with that. We needed that. Needed that type of performance from those guys to get out of here, I guess, with a semi-comfortable win.
Dan, can you talk
Semi.
about Alex's versatility, not just on the offensive end, but
Yeah.
defense?
Yeah, I mean, he did a better job, than Sampson did. Listen, these games, these are tough. I mean, I know Supreme, Cook fouled out, but I mean, some of the stuff that's going on underneath the basket, I mean, it's like, it's insanity. I mean, it's, like the amount of just the physicality when shots are going up and people just throwing each other out of the way, but then a touch foul on a drive, there's got to be and those guys, I mean, Lamar's great. He's a big-time ref. He goes deep into the NCAA tournament. Tim and Evan as well. I mean, these guys are tremendous refs, but it feels like when shots go up, it's like hockey checking or something, and then
They were able.
What was the question?
I don't know if this is part of crossing that a little
Yeah.
bit. They were able to drive the lane pretty successfully. Is that a concern for you guys?
I think that we felt that in this particular game, and we've been, I think, we've been better in terms of forcing misses now. Obviously, our Ken Palm and our defensive efficiency is not going to improve much because we didn't finish possessions with defensive rebounds and we didn't turn them over much. But really, I think our fear in terms of how we could lose this game was if Epps made 3 or 4 threes. If Ish made a couple threes, if Heath made a couple threes, I think if Styles made a couple threes, I think we were willing to get spread out a little bit more in this game. We just didn't feel like we could lose the game, and if they just made a lot of twos, and if we just took the 3-point line away.
And Alex, in particular, these last 4 games, he's something like 17 for 23 on threes. They're all victories. And that's after kind of a little bit of a cool stretch shooting. Have you seen him elevate certain parts of this game?
Yeah, I mean, some people, I think that just, you see this a lot with different types of players. I think some of them, it takes them a third of the year. You saw this last year from Alex. First third of the year, first 30, 35%, 40% of the year, had some good moments, but wasn't consistent. But he starts to heat up. He's starting to heat up. I think you also see just that sophomore year, the way Jordan was kind of first third of the year, some nice moments, but a little underwhelming at some other moments. But then boom, he took off like a rocket ship. So yeah, I mean, you're seeing that now with him.
With Sampson, I imagine you want him to be a little more aggressive rebounding. He's not, but he's also picking up fouls too. How do you kind of balance that?
It's tough. I mean, and I thought Stewie was, our version of Stewie was, I thought he was solid. I thought he didn't, he had the nice dunk, and that got it got the crowd into the game at that point. The crowd got into it on that dunk. But he just, he's got to find a way to. He's not. The physicality of this league under the basket and how it gets in there at different times, just it's bad for him. That's why in a non-conference he looked better. You don't have to deal with this because this type of play is only, it only goes on in Big East Conference play. Do that in the NCAA tournament, you may never ref another game. And maybe the Big Ten too. I think it gets pretty physical in there. But if you watch these other leagues, it doesn't. I watch an ACC game, SEC game. It does not look like that. So it doesn't play to his strengths. But he's got to find a way to break the contact and get off bodies and use his athleticism and maybe stop wrestling so much and break the contact and just try to high point the ball and use his gifts. He's a talented player. We'll get him right.
How close was Donovan to being a go today? He looked good in the warm-ups.
He looked good in the warm-ups?
Yeah, moving his feet around pretty good.
I didn't see any of the warm-up. I'm in the back hiding. Yeah, I mean, he looks good. I think going into this week now, you're on the Kling Kong watch. But he was not. He's working. He's now gone multiple days of doing things, and he's having no symptoms whatsoever. He feels completely great. His weight is down. He's really committing to, getting his weight to the point where it was last year, where he was flying around and doing all these things. And I think when he gets back there, you're going to see Sampson's game will elevate when he gets some help there.
And how will you incorporate him back in? Because obviously you can't just throw him in for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
How does that kind of work? How do you see that working?
Yeah, play him in spurts, and obviously we're not going to. Listen, we know. I think, who do we play next? Creighton. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's. The only way he's out there versus Creighton is if this thing continues to progress, and we feel like he has had enough practice time. We're not going to rush him out there just because you've got Kalkbrenner and just how brutal of a matchup that looks like based on how things have been going recently for us. So, on the interior. So, I think it'll be pretty seamless. He has the experience from last year coming off the bench. We'll do that initially with him and kind of play him like we did last year, short spurts until he's potentially ready to do starter minutes.
No 5-0 without him so far. Just what have you learned about the capabilities of this group that you have? Obviously, inside, you can produce him when he comes back, but how high could this team ceiling grow?
I think we got a super high ceiling. I think you look around college basketball, people are getting picked off, road, home, different places, with their full roster. And again, Donovan's not a starter, Donovan's not a starter. Donovan is one of the most impactful players in the country. He changes everything on the court. When he's not in there, we're vulnerable. I mean, we're vulnerable, but we've got the will and the confidence of a championship program, and in the most brutalist, is that a word, Bobby? In the brutalist league in the country, we've won 5 straight without, one of the handful of most impactful players in the country, at both ends of the court and on the backboard. And, I'm incredibly proud of the boys.
Do you want to be ranked number one with all that being said? Does it matter more?
I mean, I think it matters less when you're coming off of a championship. Again, I'll probably hear more from some of the squirrels. When I say squirrels, too, that's not like, it's just random. It's random people that will ask you about these things. And I'm not saying it's not media. It's not any of our players. It's not anyone even in particular a squirrel. Squirrels are just people that obsess over these types of things. I think that's a squirrel. And I'm not. What's that? Yeah, I mean, we would call certain people squirrels. I don't want to get into all the characteristics and traits of what a squirrel person is, but I mean, I don't know. I always looked at the number 1 ranking, and again, I mean, some people don't want the target. I think we embraced the target at UConn. If you were 1 or 2, this isn't like whose analytics are the best. It's not the same as like who should be the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's like if you were number 1 or number 2 or number 3 and you lost, it's like having the heavyweight belt and you lost, you lose the belt, right? It's like holding the belt during the regular season. And we were 4, and we won 2 Big East. We've won 2 Big East road games. We beat a heck of a St. John's team, like who I think is going to be a problem, the rest of the way. And we've won all of our games, and we've done it without one of the most impactful players in the country. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think it's important to more people in the program than it is me. But like if you were 1 or 2 or 3 and you lost, and the 4th ranked team in the country went on the road and won 2 Big East games, where other good teams have lost, and then you beat St. John's at home, and you win this game today while everyone else is losing, and you're one of the most impactful players in the country is not playing, how do you not get ranked 1? This isn't fun. Let's talk about quad 1 game. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Some bizarre, but.
Ed was discussing Alex and said how he's, I forget the word he used, maybe underappreciated or overlooked. That's something we talked about in here quite a bit. But that he looks like a first-round NBA draft pick tonight. And Alex, that's so important to what you accomplished last year. What do you see in year 2 from him, though? He's even better than he was.
Yeah, my man Ed, trying to get Alex out of here this year. We all do it to each other. Yeah, it's great. Alex is great. I mean, Alex is a burgeoning, one of the best players in the league. He's always underappreciated. I think whenever you're, talking about guys in our league that are truly having great years, we've got 3 guys that are having great years: Alex, Cam, Tristan. Obviously Donovan, and now you see what Steph's doing as a freshman. He's got to be, one of the most impactful freshmen in the country, if not the most, because of everything he does for us. But again, like when you're talking about, who Big East Player of the Year candidates, like he's right there with a couple of our guys, because the Big East awards should not just be based on what happens once the Big East games start, because everything that happens in non-conference affects the Big East. Like the season doesn't just start relative to those awards, like what net you bring into the league, how you played in those 11 games leading into Big East play. I think in all those awards, whenever we do our awards, we consider heavily what went on in the non-conference, because it affects how many bids our league gets, what our seeding is going to be in the NCAA tournament, what you bring into the league, and how your guys perform in non-conference should weigh a lot in terms of how our coaches vote.
Thoughts on Jordan Hawkins' career high 34 points last night, Andre Jackson's double-double? Just had a chance to see any of it.
Free Hawk. And, listen, Adama, Luke went and saw Adama in Westchester the other night. Adama was a beast. I mean, listen, there's a reason why we blew through that tournament last year, right? I mean, those guys are great players, and Hawk just speaks to just his professionalism. It just Craig and Jasmine, the job they did with him, how he goes, takes his, this guy was probably as good, first team all rookie freshman, and gets sent down to the G League. Doesn't do like what a culture of basketball, have a bullshit attitude, go down there, act like a baby, and play like a dog. He went down there, he practiced his ass off, he played his ass off, and then now he gets his opportunity and he goes and does what he does. He's a high level asset in the NBA, and the Bucks. I mean, I don't think they could love more what Andre Jackson has brought to their organization. I mean, man, he's like just the specialist of guys. Is that a word, Bobby?
Yes.
Yeah.